Before we get started with today's show, I want to note during this time of social isolation, no games to watch. It's not just the right time that's churning out content for you. ESPN Podcast is adapting to this new normal, and just this week, there have been new episodes of ESPN Daily, The Low Post, The Hoop Collective, Ariel Helwani's MMA Show, The Mina Kimes Show, and SV Pod. You can listen to all of these and more wherever you get your podcasts. You've heard us talk about hymns and how they're helping guys look their best. If you haven't, it's time to see what they're all about. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35, like me. And that's a big problem. Why do guys sit there and do nothing about it when they can turn to medicine and science? Once you've noticed thinning hair, it might be too late. Best way to prevent more hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some. It's time to grab the new year by the follicles. Here's to a year of personal growth. It's time to write a new chapter, one in which you have hair. The only solution is forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and other wellness supplements for men. Hims is helping guys be the best versions of themselves with licensed physicians and FDA-approved products to help treat their hair loss. Prescription solutions backed by science. Now, Hims was created by a guy who knows some men's health conversations are easier online than in person. So no more awkward in-person doctor's visits or long pharmacy lines. For Hims connects you to real doctors online, which could save you hours, completely confidential and discreet. Answer a few quick questions. The doctor will review you, and if they determine it's right for you, can prescribe you medication to treat your hair loss, and is shipped directly to your door. Now, right now, my listeners can get started with their first month free. Go to forhims.com/Bomani. That's forhims.com/Bomani. Prescription requires an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Offer valid only if prescribed. 3-month minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. That's forhims.com/Bomani. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Coming up on this episode of The Right Time. Tell you what NBA players are thinking about doing to pass this time and give you something to watch. Also, how likely is it that we're going to get an NFL season and some of your homeschool teaching adventures? But first... All right. First of all, I just want to start by saying I hope you guys are doing okay. I know that for a lot of people, this is a very difficult time and you are by yourself and not in a position where you can really reach out to others. And a lot of the mechanisms that people would ordinarily use in a time like this to get right, it's not so simple for you to do. So I just want to start by saying, hey, man, one way or another, we're going to find a way to get through this. And I hope that you are able to stay strong and got the support that you need to get you through everything that is going on right now. We're reaching the point in this where this has gone from being kind of a theoretical sort of thing to now people are knowing the folks that are not just contracting COVID-19, but also dying from it. And at least from what I can tell from people, they're being hit kind of suddenly with this. And I know that if this is happening to you and you're dealing with parents and things like that, it's a good chance that your parents have gone into the hospital and you have not been able to go there. You have not been able to be there with them, which has to be one of the lonelier feelings that someone could experience. So I just want you to know, man, we out here, we thinking about you. You got your people who are around you. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. I think a lot of people are in a place where they're alone and the people that they like are also alone, but nobody wants to feel like they're making an imposition on anybody else. Hey, man, a whole lot of people sitting around here doing not a damn thing. Reach out to them. They got you because you got them because y'all need each other. And we all in that place where we need each other. So, you know, I just want to go ahead, throw that out there. Gabe, you been hanging in? You been staying active and stuff?
I've been good, you know. Get some fresh air when I can. Certainly seems like people are doing their best, at least in my neck of the woods, to kind of keep their distances and stay inside. Can't say the same about your neck of the woods, though.
Yeah, you know what, though? I want to, in fairness to New Yorkers, you got to remember, man, there's 8 million people in the city, right? And that part matters because you are going to see some jackasses that are still outside just kind of tooling it around, right? But what percentage of the population really are those people? You know, like it's hard to uncrowd New York. And so, you know, people are still out here. I think a lot of people are out here in ways that white collar folks can't really sympathize with, man. Not everybody got the luxury of working at home. You know, like you see pictures of people on the subway. Where you think them people are going, right? Right? Like you look at those pictures of them folks that are on the subway and I'm looking at them. I'm like, okay, those people are riding downtown. There's nowhere to go to like hang out and kick it. No, man, the people are going to work. That being said, there are still a bunch of people that are just out here kicking it outside. And I got to say that as much as there is legitimate reason to blame the millennials for all of this, not all, but for certainly some, I know that a big part of the problem in my neighborhood is people my age. And I know that part of the problem with people in my neighborhood is people my age because they all blasting music from when I was in high school or early in college. That's how I know that. All the cats that seem to be posted up outside, man, they all listening to Big Pun. They all listening to DMX. I had to go to the store yesterday. I was walking down the street. Cat was bumping Ghostface Iron Man. Like, I know it's our people, man. I saw a dude the other day that was standing outside of a yellow Hummer blasting some DMX. I can't blame that on the kids. You know, I can't. That's us.
That made so much of an impression on you. That's the third time I've heard you said that.
Well, who's still pushing a yellow Hummer? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. I did read that story, though. You see that story in the Washington Post about this woman who's living with her high school son, and I guess it's his senior year, and he leaves every day to go, like, hang out with his friends and build bonfires, and then he comes back, and she's just so afraid that she's going to get sick, but he's like, I just can't tell him anything. And I'm like, lady, he's 18, and you got the deed. Lock his ass out.
The other day, there was a story that came out of Maryland, too, about how a guy got arrested for having a cookout at his house.
Yes, his second cookout. Nah, man, we got to shut these folks down. Somebody said something on Twitter, and they were like, for $5,000, would you snitch on people who are on social distancing? I'm like, for $5,000, I might pay $5,000 for the privilege so y'all won't kill us. That's all I'm saying. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta take this in the crib, and I understand part of why it's difficult for y'all to be in the crib. But, the good folks at ESPN are doing their part. If you have not heard, I'm here to tell you that ESPN has had this big 10-part Michael Jordan documentary that they have been working on for quite a while. They've been advertising the fact that it was going to come around for over a year at this point. It was set to air in June, and a lot of people hit the internet, and they were like, yo, put the Jordan doc out, we need it. Put the Jordan doc out, we need it. Put the Jordan doc out, we need it. The Jordan doc will be released. It is coming out. Gabe, I believe, is it April the 19th? That's the first day?
That is correct.
April the 19th. They're going to run 2 episodes per week for 5 weeks. And with that in mind, The Right Time has decided to also push up its schedule. For the last couple of years, we have done a summer book club. And this year, we are going to do a late spring book club because, honestly, why the hell not? The book that we have chosen is The Jordan Rules by Sam Smith. I believe The Jordan Rules was released originally in 1992. It was a very big deal when it was released because Michael Jordan had always done such a great job of manicuring his image. And Sam Smith, who was a beat writer for the Bulls, came out there, told some stuff that had not been out there. I have read this book a couple times over the years. I'm about to read it again. I think it's a very interesting look at Mike, and it's an interesting look at Mike at a very particular point in time because as much as Michael Jordan was the biggest star in the league by 1990 and 1991, because the book really covers the 1990-1991 season, as much as he was such a big star at that point, he was not yet a champion. He was still in a space with something to prove. He was still in the league that Larry Bird still played in, that Magic Johnson still played in, Moses Malone was still playing, right? Like, there were guys out there that had those receipts. Jordan was not one of them. So this is him in that time period. It's an interesting look at Phil Jackson because this is before we began to look at Phil Jackson as any sort of guru. At that point, he's a guy who had been a head coach, I believe, for all of 1 year. And then we were getting into the second, which is the year that they won this championship. So The Jordan Rules by Sam Smith. Google it, look on Amazon, whatever. You can get your copy. Gabe, how long did it take you to get your copy?
I was actually surprised at how quickly my book came. I ordered it at the end of last week when we were kind of banning around different topics and stuff like that, and it already got here. So if people order it now, or order it this week, they will have it for sure with plenty of time to read before we have our first episode.
Right. It's available on Kindle. I think it's about 350 pages, whatever it is, but that is what we are going to do. I want to say a couple things about the release of this documentary. And this is one I think is big, right? Guys, the people that I work for are not stupid. Right? They're not. And the reason I mentioned that point about them not being stupid is, did y'all really think that all of a sudden everybody was going to be at work from home and then all of a sudden they were like, cool, drop the documentary all at once? You think people have been working on this project for years and then they were just going to rush it onto television? Nah, man. Too many people did too much stuff to not give this some measure of promotion and everything else that it honestly deserves. What I've heard, and I think you guys know this about me, if I heard it was bad, I wouldn't tell you, but I also wouldn't tell you that I heard it was good. I've heard that the project is very, very good and very, very thorough. Like, this is something that we're going to really enjoy getting a hold of. But hey, man, they needed some time to get this right. I don't even know if the whole documentary itself had actually been finished by the time this all came around. But, you know, the company needed to take some steps to prepare for such an ambitious undertaking and to get a handle of what the calendar was going to be. And so, yeah, boom. Now we got it. The Jordan documentary is going to come out. And I wondered this, Gabe, because Michael Jordan, I was born in 1980. Jordan was drafted in 1984, right? So, like, I don't have a concept of college Jordan. I don't have a concept of rookie Jordan. Like, by the time I have a concept of Jordan, Jordan is not the man, but he's already Michael Jordan. Now, Gabe, you were born in like 92. So where like the 1988 and 89 version of Michael Jordan is where I get on board, you're kind of just becoming aware around the second retirement.
If you think about it too, like so much of that is, when does your sports consciousness really begin? And I can't look anybody in the face and say, like, do you remember anything before age 10? Because you weren't a critical thinker before, like, age 10. Right. So if you think about it, me being born in 91, 10 years later, 2001, the time that I remember is, like, Jordan with the Wizards, honestly.
Yeah, like, that's what I was thinking for. Like, in a lot of ways, I think I was explaining this to somebody, I think, after Michael Jackson died. I don't have a, like, contemporaneous appreciation for Michael Jackson that didn't involve him being a weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, the people who grew up with the Jackson 5 and even the folks that were, like, in the moment for Off the Wall and Thriller, they got a different appreciation for Michael Jackson than if your first real, like, grasp on Michael Jackson at your point of being able to think is, like, the 90s. Like, you view this totally differently. You had like an intellectual idea, but you didn't feel it. You don't quite get it. Like, you know it's a big deal, but you don't even necessarily have an understanding for why it is a big deal. I am very curious to see how people who were not in the moments with Michael Jordan are going to appreciate what they get from this film, right? Because I'm trying to explain to y'all, it's hard to do, okay? But LeBron James is a really, 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 really big deal. All right. LeBron James is the biggest star in the NBA, and he has been the biggest star in the NBA truly, I'd say, for about 13 years. Right. You know, this is what he is. This ain't got nothing on Mike. Because the thing about Mike was, after 1991, Mike was unassailable. There's nothing you could do. The other thing about Mike, and I think this is, I'm sure the documentary will cover this in part, but this is important to understand about Mike. They had these commercials back in the day. Like, Gabe, I imagine you've heard of these commercials, but there's no reason for you to like really watch them or whatever. But he did this Gatorade campaign, and the campaign was Be Like Mike. Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike, right? And they made it real kiddie, and they show him out in the commercial, like, you know, this is really like cute shot. I remember the video of Jordan. It looked like he's at a basketball camp or something, and he's like play guarding some kid. And I'm like, yeah, that's the part they put in the commercial. Show me the part where Jordan knocked the kid's shot out the air. I guarantee you Mike was out there knocking his left and right. But people really want to be like Mike. Like, people who were of that time, who were of that era, the guys who covered him and everything else, you want it to be like Mike. Like, what was there about Mike that people did not want to embody, right? Like, Mike was a stylish cat for the era. You know, things have changed over the time. He was a stylish cat. People saw him as being handsome. If you played basketball, that was the way that you would want to play basketball. Like, when Sonny Vaccaro was trying to sign him at Nike, the way he was explaining to everybody, he was like, dude, any clothes we put on him, this dude makes him look good. Like whatever it is, it looks better. It seems better in the presence of Michael Jordan. You don't have no real examples of really terrible quotes from Michael Jordan. The closest you got is the Republicans wear tennis shoes too, which Sam Smith has said over the years that he regretted running because Mike was just kind of joking and it turned into a defining characteristic of his personality. All of this. He got everything right at every single point. And I think I didn't fully get the magnitude of Mike myself until he came back the first time. When he came back the first time, because I was like, okay, I was in Houston, you got to remember. So Mike was out that year. Basketball was still a big deal in Houston because they won a championship in 94, and then they obviously won another one in 95, right? So, like, it was just like, okay, we still got basketball. I don't see what it is. Mike sent a fax because it was 95. And all that fax said was, I'm back, and everything changed. Like, Mike had returned. Everything was back to normal. Mike is here. Right? Like, I really want to see truly for young people how they appreciate it. And I want to see for older people what it's going to be like for us to kind of revisit Mike and to revisit basketball of that day. And I'm going to say this now to you youngsters, because I understand this, that you're going to be out here talking about this is Mike out here playing against a bunch of plumbers, right? Like that's, I don't know if this, your generation likes to go back and watch old NBA clips and just talk about how untalented everybody was and just be like, oh, these are UPS drivers and everything that Mike was playing against. Here's the problem with that though. All the dudes that came later that you think were beasts, not all of them obviously, but most of them, they played against Mike. All right? They played against Mike. And Mike was doing it to him. All right. Rod Artest made this point. I mean, he got the exact number wrong, but he's correct about this. Rod Artest broke Mike's ribs in a pickup game. I want to say the year was 2001, right? But in that, Mike had this injury during his first year with the Wizards that kind of took him out. Dude, Mike scored 23 points a game after being out of the game for 3 years and recovering from injury. In Mike's last season in the league, Mike averaged, I want to say 37 or 38 minutes a game. This is in his 40s. Do you realize how absurd that is? And he couldn't give it to you every night, but Mike was still out here giving it to dudes at that time. And so, okay, cool. Kobe Bryant, for example, great player. I think the height of Kobe Bryant really, like the best we really got of Kobe Bryant, it's kind of like the 02 to 04 version of Kobe. Like, I really think that's probably the best version of Kobe that we got. In 2002, 2003, whatever it is, Kobe's a better player than Michael Jordan. But please understand that the league where Kobe was doing all that in, where you revere Kobe for that, Mike was out there about 40 years old scoring 23 points a game. Right. So if that's what he's doing at like 38, 39, 40, what do you think happens if we bring the Mike that averaged 32 and a half points, 8 boards, and 8 rebounds a game? What do you think will happen if we drop that Mike into the NBA of the early 2000s and the late 90s? Mike gonna be out there killing it even still. You put Mike out here in this NBA right now, you'd be like, well, Mike couldn't shoot threes. Mike would be able to shoot threes in this game if you had to, because that's what Mike did. No. Whole lot of y'all gonna get a glimpse that this was that guy. You're going to look at some of these clips in SD and you're going to think that maybe some of the players from then wasn't that great. Okay, whatever. That's fine. That's how you see it. It happens. But get ready, because there has never been anything quite like Michael Jordan, and the likelihood that there's going to be anything else like Michael Jordan is low as a basketball player and also just as a figure because of the way the stars are promoted these days, right? We got so many little bootleg stars out here that we entertain because it's so much easier to get publicity than ever. But Mike was the one. All these stars out here, Michael Jordan is the sun. Back in a minute to talk about a 2K tournament involving NBA players. But first, you may have heard of a COO by the name of Dylan Miskowitz. He's a real business owner who struggled with finding the right fit for his director of coffee role until he turned to ZipRecruiter. Well, a lot has happened since he made his first hire with ZipRecruiter. His organic coffee business, Cafe El Tour, grew. Cafe El Tour's distribution increased and they expanded their product offerings. Cafe El Tour grew so much that Dylan had to hire a junior roaster and a second director of coffee. How? Once again, through ZipRecruiter. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. While Dylan was busy managing his booming business and signing autographs, ZipRecruiter did the work for him. Its matching technology found people with the right skills and experience and actively invited them to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself how ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier, from coffee roaster to construction worker to CMO. To try ZipRecruiter for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. That's ZipRecruiter.com/BOMANI. ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter, smartest way to hire. I don't know if you guys have heard, people sitting around here are kind of bored, right? And with people being a little bit bored, got to come up with some things to do. So check this out. Headline: NBA reportedly plans players-only 2K tournament that will air on ESPN. 16-player tournament that would last 10 days. Yes, Yahoo Sports originally reported this. And so you'd have the players, and I guess, and Gabe, I've never asked you this. Are you a video game player?
Pretty much only play FIFA. That's my jam.
Got it. Do you like play it on the internet, like on the Twitch and all that stuff?
Not on the Twitch, no. They have some sort of like a online thing that you can do called FIFA Ultimate Team, where you can like build your own squad in this like online marketplace. I think you and I have talked about this before, where they make it so that like the best players are basically unattainable, but you get to play it with other people.
Got it. All right, now I'm reading this story here from a man, Chris Haynes. And Chris says the league hopes to launch the event Friday with the 16-player tournament lasting 10 days and also including stars such as the Utah Jazz's Donovan Mitchell, 4-time All-Star DeMarcus Cousins, and 2-time All-Star Andre Drummond, among other big-name players, sources said. Now, and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant could also be involved in this. Here's my question for you, Gabe. And I guess we only got these 4 names, so we don't know who else is in the tournament. So we'll have to limit this to these 4 names. And I guess, well, the answer is probably pretty obvious. But of these 4 guys, which one do you think is more likely to throw a controller across the room?
I would go with KD.
Ooh, I'm going with DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, everything about DeMarcus Cousins indicates controllers get thrown.
Yeah, I just feel like KD is one of those type of guys who could be like getting really into it.
I can see that, right? I can totally see that. And I can just see DeMarcus Cousins as a guy who really, 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 really hates to lose, right? I want to know who is the guy that's going to say the most game cheating. Game cheating, right? You know damn well you can't do that in real life. Because you think these cats going to be picking their own teams? Like if you're Andre Drummond, do you have the heart to pick the Hawks?
That's like the interesting part about this tournament. It's just like, oh, it's going to be this handful of players, but they're not necessarily having to play with their own teams.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago in Spain, the like Spanish soccer league, La Liga, they had a tournament where one player represented each team in the league, and they played in this big tournament, and the winner won $150,000 for coronavirus relief efforts, and the donations went to UNICEF.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be a 16-team tournament, that makes sense. And again, right, like if you think Trae Young plays with the Hawks, or do you think that Trae Young trades himself somewhere like straight up, trades himself to Milwaukee, straight up for George Hill? Like, cool. Now I got Giannis. I feel like that's got to happen. I feel like they need that. Who else do we want in this tournament, right? I'm trying to think of who I want to see, because, I mean, I feel like, at least for me, if I'm going to watch this, because I'm not sure if at the age of 39 I'm at the point of really wanting to watch people play video games. Or, actually, no, I'll be honest. I don't want to watch the video game they are playing. I do kind of want to watch them play video games. Does that make sense? Like, I want to see these cats with the headsets all talking that noise to each other. You think Gordon Hayward will be in there?
Yeah, he's a big gamer.
He is. That would be interesting to have Gordon Hayward in there, and them cats going, like, does Gordon Hayward talk the smack back if they talk the smack to him?
I don't know. I've never watched him play games, but he's like one of those Twitch people who like people will actually watch him play. If there's one person that I'd want to like watch play, it'd have to be Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, I imagine he could do all the talking. All the talking. I just want to hear the talking. That's the only thing I want to hear out of any of these cats is the talking. And I have contended, by the way, every time somebody's like, yo, we got to put some content out. Yo, the people need some content. We ain't got no shortage of content. Like, if you need something to watch ain't that hard to find. Most of y'all pay money for these services, or you got ways to, to bootleg them on the back end. I don't think y'all got things to watch. That's kind of what it is. But this could actually be legitimately intriguing. I'm going to just ask ESPN one thing. If we're going to make this something worth watching, man, you got to let them cuss. That's how I feel. I'd actually, rather than a 16-player tournament, I would rather it be an 8-player round-robin tournament, at which point you then have semifinals and finals. Because I want to see everybody play against each other. I want to see everybody talking that smack to each other. I want to find out who really does or does not have it in them. Because there is nothing quite like that time that you see your friend lose his over losing a competition. Now, as some of you know, I used to do this TV show called High Noon. We did our last episode last week, and we were going through some of the highlights of the time that the show was on. Did you ever see that time I won $100 off Pablo by saying the alphabet backwards? By the way, I just want to show you that I can do that all the time. ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHGFEDCBA. See how quick I can do that? Yeah, that's right. Anyway, somehow Pablo didn't think I was going to be able to do that, and I got him for $100. Pablo lost his mind. You watch that clip. Pablo tried to snatch the money out of my hand. Pablo out here screaming out to the producers who were laughing, I'm technically your boss. Oh, man, he went on tilt. I couldn't believe it. Then he tried to do it himself, and he got it wrong. I had never seen Pablo go on tilt before in my life. It is easily my favorite moment of doing that television show, because that show wasn't making it no better. I had that money in front of him. I'm fanning myself with it. Pablo out here talking about, that's my money. It ain't your money. It's my money now. Once it got into my hand. Woo! Love that. Love that. That's what I want to see in the NBA. You think they're going to be making side bets? Because this is the NBA. They do everything for money. Venmo need to sponsor this, right? Just to make sure these bets, take place. That's what they need. Like one of them's Venmo, Cash App, whoever it is. They need to get on there and they need to sponsor this. Because once this we playing for charity and playing for pride. That's one thing. You put $100 on the line, all of a sudden everything changes. So yeah, they say they hope to launch this on Friday. Bring it on. I'm here. I ain't really doing nothing. I'm trying to think who is it that I think would absolutely just be like the wackest? Oh, they got to get Embiid in this, right? Because we know that if Embiid wins, he going to talk all the noise. And if Embiid loses, he's going to cry. All right, had an interview with Arthur Blank, owner of the Atlanta Falcons. Mr. Blank says that he still sees a possibility of an NFL season, a 16-game season. He thinks there can be a 16-game season. This is what he told Peter King. If I had to speculate now, and I use the word speculate because that's really all it is, I would say yes. Only because it's so far away from where we are today. I could easily see camps being shorter, players being tested on a daily basis, things of that nature, no fan attendance, things like that. We may have fewer preseason games, which probably wouldn't be the end of the world, but I think by September, my hope by the time the regular season starts, that we'll be able to bring people together in some form or fashion in a safe manner and play. Now, again, I don't blame any of these leagues, any of these people, anybody else for wanting to get out here and play, because that's how the money gets made, right? And just about everybody is out here doing this on some level for the money. I don't know if you saw this, Gabe, but they said that after April 15th, they're going to look in the NBA, they're going to look at players' paychecks and talk about a percentage reduction because of canceled games. And I can't be mad at the league for that, right? We pay y'all off money that we're not getting right now. And y'all aren't exactly the poorest people in the world, right? Like, it's not putting somebody, this ain't like firing somebody from the factory. So I get why they want to get back out there and play. I just want you to listen to this. And Gabe, you let me know if there's something that I'm missing here, because it's possible that I might be missing it, and you are a well-read man, so maybe you know something I don't here. When he says, I could easily see camps being shorter, players being tested on a daily basis, things of that nature. Gabe, where the hell are they going to get all those tests?
I mean, it seems like with the NBA players, they've never had problems getting tests. Every single rich person that has wanted to get tested or has needed to get tested has got tested.
Right.
I don't know if the testing's going to be a problem.
Hold on. How many times did they get tested? Are they getting tested every day? You see what I mean? Football team got 50-something people. So we talk about 50-something tests times 32 times 7, and that's how many tests per week we're talking about them having. Does that sound like something that can actually work for you? Like in China, I think you may have seen this, what they were trying to do with China. They were trying to get back the Chinese Basketball Association back cracking over there. And what they wanted to do was like take the 20 teams, split them up between 2 cities, quarantine everybody, and kind of get the league back going. And they want to do something, I guess, similar in terms of having all the testing and everything else. The problem with the testing is this. Once you find out somebody's got it, it's too late. Right? So it's just like, cool. So if we find out somebody's got it, we're going to get him out of there. Well, how long has he been there? Or like, what was the time period between when he got it, when you found out whatever it is, and then where does it go from there? And then if somebody's got it, where are you getting these other players from, right? You're going to call me. I mean, I might need a job, but you will call me and be like, hey man, can you come up here and play for the Falcons? Yeah, they got to open it because that last dude had the Rona. Well, who else got the Rona? I guess you go find out. No, man, I struggle to see how that is going to work. Now, I'm reading this off of a post on Pro Football Talk, and Mike Florio says something here that I kind of want to address a bit here. And it's this, that Arthur Blank made the point that we need football. And in fact, I'll just go with what Blank said. I do think we need football now. It's hard to turn on any device you have today, almost any site, television, PCs, laptops, phones, without the first thing popping up being something on the virus. And that's appropriate. However, I also think that people want a diversion. People want to be optimistic. People want to think about things that are really good times for themselves and their families and their loved ones and their communities. I think to have that kind of hope and aspiration mixed into your daily life is important. And I do think that, like, generally speaking, that is correct. I also think, though, that, again, we really don't have a shortage of diversions. Go pull up your Netflix homepage, right? Go pull up your Disney Plus. Shout out. Go pull up that. You got diversions left and right. I think that in sports, we take ourselves very seriously about what, like, the macro level effect is that we have on the world for the existence of these things, right? We need to act like these are really, really important. We need to act like we're making the world a better place. And I do think that there's something to that, right? Like, part of why I work in the space that I work in is because I think I can reach people, particularly because of the appeal that sports has to the observer, to the listener, to the audience, right? So, like, I get that to a degree, but hey, man, y'all need to come to terms with the fact that this probably ain't going to happen. It's not. And if it doesn't happen, I need you to come to terms with the reality that we've lost all these other things and somehow you have managed to survive. I don't have a great deal of evidence to indicate that whatever your current condition is right now, that it would be so much better if you had the NBA, or it would be so much better if there were football games. It would be cool to watch because we like football, right? But it ain't really changing nothing. It ain't really going to make us feel better. And I contend that for most of y'all, especially if you got a favorite team, does your favorite team actually make you feel good? Like, Gabe, your favorite team made you feel good this year. When was the last time they had made you feel good?
When was the last time the Lakers made the playoffs? What was it like?
Oh, yeah.
2013. 2013, yeah. It's been a while.
You know, with the 49ers, they hadn't brought you no joy since like 2013. Before this had happened. I'm just saying, most of y'all root for losers. Like, y'all got to be real about that fact. Most of y'all root for a bunch of losers. The league is primarily losers. That's why winning is such a big deal, right? Y'all, by and large, root for a bunch of losers. You want to feel like you're represented by losers in this time right now? I don't feel like that's necessarily what y'all want. Like, let me think in my head going around the league here and just be like, well, I guess Tampa, you got something to look forward to. Y'all got Tom Brady, so that'll feel good to you at least for like a week. Maybe 2, some in that space. The Jets. I work with a bunch of Jets fans, man. Bunch of them. Worked with them for like 2 years. I ain't seen the Jets put a smile on not nan face in those 2 years while I was there. Everything going on in the world. You think turning on the Jets gonna make it better? I don't. I do not. I do not see that coming. Sorry.
Speaking of the Jets, did you see that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where the guy's like love of the Jets literally killed him?
No, I did not, but that sounds accurate.
Oh, man. Yeah. So Larry David's a big Jets fan, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't watch Curb. Like, Larry David is George Costanza. That's my understanding.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, okay. Larry David is a dude where part of his character is that character isn't really very happy. Is that a fair characterization?
Oh, he's absolutely miserable, just like the Jets fans.
Boom, there it is. Exactly. Of course he'd root for the Jets.
All New York fans are miserable. The Knicks, man, the Jets. Well, they got the Yankees.
Yeah, I forgot. They were good last year. That's right. Yeah. Bad breaks. Tough times in New York. Tough times. But, man, everybody trying to come up with all these plans. We can do it without fans. I mean, I'm curious just kind of the weirdo, like, dystopian sort of look that it would be if we did this without fans. But I just don't think this is going to happen. I just don't think it's going to wind up being safe. And the thing for me is, for these teams, if you do this, just tell me that you're doing it for the money, right? I can understand you doing this for the money. I don't judge you for doing this for the money. Don't tell me you're doing this for me. That's all I'm saying. Don't tell me that you're doing this for us, because I swear we will ultimately be okay, right? And if all you can offer is a diversion, you're not really offering that much, right? Make sure that these players are safe. Like I saw it pop up when Jay Williams was on Get Up, and Jay said the thing about, we need this in our lives, and the backlash was strong, man. The backlash came from players. Like I saw Baron Davis being like, what you mean I'm supposed to endanger my life so that other people can be happy or something like that? Like, what are you talking about? And I can't be mad at Baron for that. That's a fair and legitimate point. The players and the people who are truly going to endanger themselves under these circumstances, they don't really owe us anything. They don't. I want them to be safe. That is more important than anything else, is them being safe. Y'all don't have to rush this on our behalf. If you want to rush it on your behalf, just be honest and say that that's what you're doing.
Do you know if these players are insured for the possibility that they could get COVID and their careers could be like totally changed?
I do not know, and that is a very good question, because there can be some like permanent lung damage that comes from this. That's a good question. I don't know.
To your point before about getting everybody together in these camps and it being too late, if someone finds out that they get it, that could be the quickest way to get everyone that matters in the game sick.
Yes. Like, the risk just seems to be too much, man. We just got to fall back. That's just all it comes down to. Here's what I think these leagues are resting on, though, honestly. A big part of why we're trying to do this stuff to flatten the curve, as it's been said, is because our healthcare system is overwhelmed, right? Like, a big part of what we're doing here is not simply so you don't catch it. It's so that if you do catch it, there will be a hospital bed waiting for you on the other side. Like, that's a huge part of this, is just trying not to overwhelm the healthcare system. How much you want to bet that part of what these leagues and teams are betting on if this happens is, oh, don't worry, we got doctors here. You ain't even got to go to the hospital. We'll be able to take care of you right here. So they're less concerned with whether or not people catch it than they are with their belief that, don't worry, if you do catch it, we got the same stuff over here that's making sure the other rich people don't die. And if that's the case, man, that's wild cynical. Totally plausible. Just be real about where you're coming from on this. I don't need your favor.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, Bo, this first story comes from Health.
This is Petula Dvorak. I'm a columnist with the Washington Post, and I wrote about the way the coronavirus quarantine might affect our relationships. You always hear about the baby boom 9 months after a hurricane, a blackout, or a snowstorm. But I gotta say, a couple weeks into this working from home thing, when I get to see my husband in full-on conference call work mode, I'm thinking maybe there's going to be a divorce boom instead. Sure enough, I talked to a lot of other folks who are wondering the same thing. There are divorce lawyers already licking their chops, thinking they're going to be really busy when everything is back to normal. If it'll ever be back to normal. There was one woman I talked to who couldn't believe she married "let's circle back to this guy." Seriously, my husband and I make fun of all that corporate speak, and he uses all of it. I heard him. I ended up starting to do my interviews in the van after he started giving me suggestions while I was talking to people. There was another couple I talked to, 2 wives. One of them had to work out in the shed because the other couldn't stand listening to how commanding and strict she was on the phone. It was pretty funny. But I wonder if this is true. Are we going to have a divorce boom or a baby boom after all this is over?
I think that the divorce boom is more likely, and the reason is actually quite pragmatic. Gabe, I imagine this is a really inconvenient time to be pregnant.
Oh, unbelievably inconvenient time.
Yeah.
Anything that is going to add stress to your life when you're already self-quarantined and cooped up, this is just going to make it 10 times worse.
And you might catch it. If there's any precaution that you could possibly take under these circumstances, you might want to do it, one would think. The other part, and it's interesting when you start like comparing it to blackouts and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, y'all laying around here, y'all ain't got nothing to do, whatever. Blackout, lift after however much time and you good. This is operating for an indefinite period of time. So this is not like, oh man, it was just this wild weekend and everybody was just out here getting down and you see what happened. No. We in this for a minute. I can't imagine the people who are with somebody in the same place. I cannot imagine how tired they are of each other. I was talking to somebody who was like, this is straining my relationship with my wife. This is straining my relationship with my kids. Right? Your relationship was not built for spending all this time with each other. It just wasn't. These aren't the terms that you initially agreed to. I can understand completely how rough this is on a lot of people. But no, I think with all the different, tricks and techniques that people have these days about kids and, not having them and all that stuff, yeah, there's going to be some people that wind up having kids here. I hope mama and daddy still together by the time it's over. I mean, not over, but, kids born, blessings.
And what's interesting, too, is there are like some competing views on this as well within the level of family sector you are on. Mm-hmm. I saw Gabriel Roth, the head podcasting guy at Slate, tweet out the people who are recently married or do not have kids yet seem to be very quiet during this time because there is a degree of like, there's no little kid running in the back of the podcast recording right now.
Yes.
Or there's no like little kid giving me bunny ears in my Zoom recording or like picking his nose, or like waking me up in the middle of the night. There's none of that going on right now. I'm just kind of chilling.
Yeah, no, I don't have that either. It's a lot to this for a lot of people, man. But yeah. Nah, the answer is going to be a baby boom or divorce boom. The answer might be both.
All right, this next story also comes from Health.
Hey, my name is Katie Way. I'm with Vice, and last week I wrote about the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has presented a great opportunity for the spread of scams and hoaxes. Basically, you're seeing regulatory bodies having to step up and police wellness companies selling things like essential oils and tinctures and teas and colloidal silver to either protect consumers from coronavirus or cure it if they think they already have it. Then you're seeing retail platforms like eBay and Amazon stepping in to stop price gouging or halting the sale of ebooks that don't contain factual information about coronavirus that have sort of been written in the past few weeks or so by mysterious authors. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter having to pull down, suspend accounts for spreading misinformation in the form of, iPhone note from the desk of Stanford University, chain messages with incorrect information about testing, about symptoms, things like, if you can hold your breath for 10 seconds, if you can go up a flight of stairs without feeling winded, you don't have coronavirus, things that just aren't true. And I think it's worth taking a step back and thinking about the fact that the reason we're seeing this misinformation spread so quickly, the reason we're seeing wellness companies try to step in and offer a product to people is because there's been a real lack of coordinated response from our executives, from the president, and there's a real lack of concrete information. We still don't know exactly how coronavirus spreads. We still don't know exactly how many people in the US even have it, thanks to testing shortages that startups, telemedicine companies like Nurex have actually started stepping in and offering their own home testing that's not even FDA approved. Just the fact that this lack of concrete information, this lack of guidance, this lack of infrastructure in our healthcare system has really allowed bad actors to step up and try to profit from the general atmosphere of fear and confusion that we're living in right now.
So I was talking to one of my homeboys yesterday because I hadn't talked to him since it all happened. And I was like, he's in Atlanta and, I'm worried about, I worry about Atlanta for a number of reasons, including my parents living there, but also I just don't feel like as a state they've taken this thing seriously down there. And he said he's doing all right. He gave me all, talked about this, talked about that. I'm like, okay, cool. And he was like, well, yeah, man, I need to figure out what to do. So like, I talked to the witch doctor, and the witch doctor, that's how he referred to the woman, as the witch doctor. And he said, the witch doctor told me that, if I get this, that it, gets in your mucus. So you just need to get the mucus out. So I'm drinking this some kind of lime tea or something like that. And that's my thing, just to keep everything going. And I was like, bro, just please stay inside. That's all I'm saying. Just please stay inside, right? I did not at all feel comforted that, like, honestly, if this tea that your witch doctor got is really gonna be the solution, how come they ain't selling more of it? Why are you keeping this secret? Why ain't you telling everybody? That's all I'm saying. That's on all of this stuff, man. Just stay inside. Ain't nobody got no magic solution. Just please stay inside. And if you think you got it, get as close to a doctor as you possibly can. That's all I'm saying.
There's not some sort of special magic elixir that you can buy on the internet that's going to cure this. Just listen to the experts.
No, like I'm gonna tell you, when you watch them briefings that they're doing every day, listen to the people who are doctors. Like, I think that's the way to go. So somebody make a very interesting suggestion that at this time, rather than sending your typical White House press corps to the briefings, send health reporters, because they can ask better questions. And I think there's absolutely something to do that. Like, this ain't a politics matter right now. I mean, there are things about it that have become part of politics, but the part that matters to everybody is not the part that's politics. It's the part of what can we do? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of other people? Where is this thing going? And it's no disrespect to the people who are politics writers, but the same thing happened in sports in a lot of ways when, like, the Kaepernick stuff started popping off, and you got to ask yourself how qualified the people are who are there to cover sports were to discuss these larger matters. Like, that's not their bag. That's not what they got into it for. And so I would like more people who know things to ask questions, and more people who know things to be the ones who are answering questions. But, I mean, I heard or somebody told me, think about how much other stuff you don't listen to from those same people.
100%. All right, so this last story comes from Metro. The reporter couldn't join us for it, but I thought it was hilarious. So, over in Seattle, a man was arrested on Sunday following a high-speed chase on I-5, where the suspect's pit bull may have been driving the vehicle during part of the incident. According to the man, he said that he was teaching his dog how to drive, and the pit bull was found in the driver's seat while the man was steering the driving wheel. It was not clear, though, if the pit bull would be charged in connection with the incident.
I don't know, Gabe. I don't know. You sent me the story yesterday, and I was like, yeah, put it on the show. And I figured by the time we got here, I would actually have something to say. I don't know, Gabe. I don't know. Do you know something? Because I don't know.
I don't know anything. I mean, when I saw this story, it immediately trumped the others that we hadn't heard back from yet, as far as the reporters and, being able to get them to record their stories in a timely fashion. And I just thought this one was too good. It was right. It was too good. Imagine driving down the freeway and looking to the right of you like, all right, I gotta change lanes here. Hold on. And you got a dog in the car next to you in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't understand the guy. I was teaching my dog to drive.
Who was touching the gas pedal?
That's what I'm saying. I just want to know who to blame. I don't know who to blame. There's somebody to blame. Not just the person who did this individually, of course, but it's got to be somebody larger, macro, to blame, right? Like, imagine, what did the dog think was going on? Do you think it's just a game?
I would want to see a photo of this. That's what I would want. But there hasn't been any release just yet. But I'm sure in the coming days, if people look for it, I'll keep you posted.
Please do.
Hey, this is Bomani. You have reached the right time voicemail. Say whatever you want. Get creative with it. But this is your place to talk back to the show. So talk back. Peace.
All right, Bo. It seems like in the past couple of weeks we've had a lot of people allude to homeschooling that's going on. And that seemed to spark a voicemail segment idea for you.
Yeah, man. One of my homeboys was like, yo, trying to teach my kid how to do long division when I realized I don't know how to do long division. And so I imagine that for a lot of you, you've learned a lot about the educational system and the limitations of your own knowledge in the course of your homeschool adventure. So we just wanted to know what y'all doing with the kids. How's it going at the schoolhouse, which is actually your house?
Got a bunch of good ones. Our first one comes from Regina in Dallas.
Hey, Bomani. My story's a little bit different. My husband's a teacher. I used to teach. But our kids that are home are actually a senior in college studying biomedical engineering and a first year law school student. Let me tell you what we can do. Help them. No kind of way. The senior, she has coding homework and all these other things. Let me tell you what my students did. History. I got a degree in history. My husband, degree in art. So you know what we can do is help them. And to make it even worse, they keep drinking up all my liquor. So, no, I don't need this homeschooling. I need everybody going back to where they need to go.
She said they're drinking up all the liquor now. She kind of touched on it there just a little bit, but let me tell you what's happening in a whole lot of houses right now. There's a lot of situations where there is a parent and there is an offspring, and the parent and offspring have something in common that they would like to do, but they don't feel comfortable doing it together, even though that might improve their relationship. So one of them is sneaking to one place to do it, and the other is sneaking to the other place to do it. At some point, they going to try to sneak at the same time, and they going to be there looking at each other, and it's going to be like that meme with Puffy on that show with the dude looking at him and the dude looking back. And then somebody going to be like, you want this? How many people you imagine got stories about that with their kids at the house?
Oh, so many. So many. I mean, for me personally, like, family gatherings got so much more fun after I started coming back from college.
Yes. They're like, all right, we don't have to hide these things from Gabe anymore. But I remember I had a friend of mine who told me that, like, him and his pops used to have the same sneak spot, right? And so if there was something left after he got done, he'd leave it there. And he said it would be funny that sometimes he would come up there and he had left one and there would be two. And sometimes he would come up there and he had left one and there would be none. But nobody could talk about it, so it would just be a lot of just whistling.
All right, this next one comes from Keith in Georgia.
Hey, what's up, bro? So this whole homeschooling thing, man, it really made me try to sharpen the skills or find out what I didn't know. So my oldest kid is 10. She's in the 5th grade. So her teacher sends a packet home. We'll learn how to multiply mixed fractions and also how to add and subtract mixed fractions. So me, I'm looking at it like, hey, I got this. I could do this. But then it hit me. Damn, I never learned how to do this in school. Because I remember in school that the way I learned to do it was I just took that mixed number and just converted it to a fraction. Let's convert it to a decimal. So I converted it to a decimal and use that decimal. And hey, bam, I got my F. So I never learned how to do it. All through school never bothered me. Bachelor's degree and everything. So now my wife is like, well, you can't teach her how to do just decimal. You got to teach her how to do the mixed fractions with the multiplication that they need to be done. And at this point, man, I'm just like trying to show my daughter, and she's correcting me. And I'm like, well, no, you do it this way. And we're going back and forth. At this point, my kid breaks down. She starts to cry. My wife comes in. She's like, hey, let's just all take a break. And from that day forth, man, I ain't did nothing else in math. Reading and social studies, I'm your man. Even science. But math, no, I have to let my wife handle that.
Multiply the denominator by the whole number and then add the numerator to that total. That's it. So you got to do. You work with the same. That's how you do that. Multiply the denominator by the whole number. Add the numerator. Keep the same denominator. That's how you deal with the mixed number.
Yeah, it's always interesting when parents have like competing skills in terms of who is able to participate in teaching their child one or the other. But it makes it even funnier when parents have a shortcut that they used and maybe that shortcut isn't valid anymore.
Yeah, and by the way, your shortcut isn't something you can readily explain.
Yeah, exactly. But why, Daddy? I don't know. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. You can't. I was helping a friend of mine's 6-year-old with something, and like what happens a lot of times is that you have to dial yourself back, right, to a level of simplicity that kids understand. And I had to remember, okay, if it's 8 plus 3, yes, sweetheart, it's okay to add it up with your fingers. Like there is no trick to 8 plus 3. All you can do is count up. Like you memorize it, but that's it. And I was like, no, fingers are good. Go ahead. Ride these fingers out as far as you can.
All right, this next one comes from Daniel in San Antonio.
What's up, Bo? So I have a first grader who is in a dual language English-Spanish program, and I have graduated from college. I took 6 years of Spanish between high school and college, and haven't really spoken or paid much attention to Spanish since I stopped taking Spanish class, and quickly realized how much of that knowledge that I had lost in a very short period of time. Basic stuff like what words mean, how to conjugate verbs, how to construct sentences has been a challenge, to say the least. And in particular with distance learning, I've been relying heavily on the Google Translate app on my iPhone.
Took all that Spanish, you don't remember it.
Yeah, sounds like everyone else that tried to learn a foreign language or had to learn a foreign language in high school or college, huh?
Like, I can do all right. I took French in high school, and like, if you get me in the swing of it, like, I've taken a couple trips to France over the last couple of years, and like, by day 3 or 4 or whatever, like, I can get out there and make conversation and like, feel like in the rhythm of talking it. Like, I'm not like just actively translating as I talk. But yeah, it's gotta be a bummer to think that you spent all that time taking that only to become an adult and not know a damn thing of it.
The game-changing thing for Daniel, though, is that now you have Google Translate, whereas you didn't have Google Translate back then. So it's much easier to cheat now.
Yes, I'd be very curious to know how some of these teachers feel. Like, they got to make your take-home Spanish assignment hard as hell now, right? Because it's too easy for you to fake it. They got to make it hard as hell. But I tell you this, you ain't got no Google Translate on that phone, you will find out fast. Like, you will be exposed. Please believe that.
And I'm sure they've changed their strategy as far as like their teaching plans, because now you got like Duolingo, you've got, Rosetta Stone, all these different ways to be teaching yourself a language.
Yeah, man. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing a couple times a week. My man Gabe Bassain handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thanks to our sponsors, Hims and ZipRecruiter. Thank you to our If You Haven't Heard contributors. Thanks to Petula Dvorak of the Washington Post. Check out her story on whether the COVID-19 is going to lead to a baby boom or a divorce tsunami at thewashingtonpost.com. Thanks to Katie Way of Vice. Check out her story on the scams and hoaxes that are thriving in the COVID-19 pandemic. Check that story out at Vice. And also remember, subscribe to The Right Time. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.
Thanks for checking out The Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Right Time
with Bomani Jones.